Okay, so tonight we are still in the aura of the Yahrzeit of Rachel Imenu. So in our series of of the art of being human, so I wanted to speak about a central theme in the life of Rachel Imenu, and this is probably the thing that she's most famous for, is that how much she cared about somebody else, how much she cared about the dignity of her sister, and probably the most famous thing in the career of Rachel Imenu is that the self-sacrifice that she endured, that on her, what was supposed to be her wedding night, that turned out not to be her wedding night. And that is, the story goes that of course Yaakov was in love with Rachel, and Rachel was in love with Yaakov, and the plan was that they were going to get married, and so for 7 years he made a deal with Rachel's father, Lavan, that he's going to work for 7 years in return in exchange to be able to marry his daughter, and so at the end of the 7 years, so Lavan had this thing. He had this idea that that I want to first marry off Leah, and he's going to switch them, and he's going to fool them, he's going to deceive Yaakov. So the thing is that the Gemara says that Rachel was aware of the fact that her father was a disgusting liar, and she prepared for this day. And so she told Yaakov that, my father, so you can't trust him, and I think that we should make signs. We should make these codes that's the way they're going to be able to know that it's really me and it's not some imposter. And so they made these codes. And then at the last moment, so of course Lavan did switch them. At the last moment, so she felt bad, and she said, how can I let Leah be humiliated with Yaakov? And so at the last moment, so she gave Leah these codes, she gave him these signs, and through that, so Leah was saved from the humiliation of being able to being exposed that she was not supposed to be marrying Yaakov. Okay, the Gemara says that they had the same voice, that there was because it was night, and so that's why the only thing that was holding them back from the deception was only these signs. So she did it, and in this action, in this amazing sacrifice of giving over the simanim, so she was in fact giving over the entire future of the Jewish people, being that she didn't know that she was going to eventually be a matriarch in the first place. She thought that she was giving up everything. She thought that she was giving up the love of her life. She thought that she was giving up the future of being the mother of the Jewish people, and so this sacrifice of caring so much about the respect of the dignity and the humiliation of Leah. So the Gemara says that this is the greatest merit that Rachel Imenu had. So much so that it says that before Mashiach comes, so Hashem is going to go that ask all of the avos and say that, and like everyone is going to come up and argue that Hashem, how can you not bring Mashiach? How can you allow them to stay in exile? And Hashem is going to say to each one that, come on, guys, it's true, but they sinned. Like, and to everybody he has an answer until the Medrash says, until Rachel Imenu comes up, and he says, and she says, Hashem, I know that you're zealous. I know that it's not okay. It's not okay that they're following Avodah Zarah, and they're following their Instagram but look at me, that I had every right to be jealous of Leah, that she was the older one, and I even though I could have completely been justified in just letting things work out and letting her be humiliated, and I didn't, because I care so much about her. So you, Hashem, you can't just give in. You can't have a little self-sacrifice and let them go, let them off, despite the fact that they're worshiping Avodah Zarah, that they're worshiping their telephones, and so the Gemara says that this chus of giving over the simanim, so this is the chus with which Rachel Imenu, so she cries before Hashem, and Hashem tells her that that there is a merit to all of your crying because of this, and because of your merit, so they are going to come home. There is going to be a geula. So I want to speak about this midah that Rachel Imenu had, about the fact that she cared so much about the humiliation and the dignity of her sister. And so and I think this is a very basic idea, a very fundamental midah, very fundamental quality that in Torah, in Judaism, in being a human being, and so B'ezrat Hashem, like we should be inspired by her. That this class should be like a way to walk in her footsteps and like to really understand the essence of what this midah is, the essence of what this character trait is, of caring about someone else's dignity. So the truth is that I believe that this midah really entails two things. And before we talk about caring about somebody else's dignity, I think it's incumbent upon us to understand the idea of our own dignity. And this is something that the Gemara talks about. The Gemara says in Brachos Daf Yutes that Gadol Kavod Habriyos Shedei Chaleis Aseh Shebeter. That the Gemara talks about something called Kavod Habriyot, that there is human dignity, that it's so great before Hashem, it's so great in the eyes of Halacha, that it's so great that at times that we're going to let a transgression, a negative commandment be put on pause, that we're going to ignore the fact that something is asur, because we say on the one hand this is asur, on the other hand, but human dignity. And the Gemara says that human dignity is such a great thing that when we're weighing the different sides of the question, so the weight of human dignity outweighs doing an avera. Okay, obviously, like halacha has its very specific ways of calculating which things yes and which things not, but a person can't say I'm going to be so humiliated to keep Shabbos that like everybody's going to look at me like obviously there's so first of all the Gemara says it's talking about generally about talking to about only rabbinic prohibitions, but still the Gemara what the Gemara says is very meaningful, that this is absolutely a Torah value. Now the Gemara is talking about two things. That what the Gemara itself is talking about is speaking about that a person realizes that the clothing that they're wearing is prohibited to wear. Okay, well, how could you have a piece of clothing that's prohibited to wear? So there's something called kalayim, something called shatnez. Shatnez, it's a thing for I don't know. I guess for women also theoretically. If is there such a thing as woolen women's clothing?
Yes.
There is. Okay. I knew that. So like when men buy suits, so it's a thing like to make sure that you get it checked for shatnez. You have to make sure that it's that your suits are checked for shatnez, because if you have wool and linen together, so then it's a problem. So the Gemara says that what if you have something which is shatnez d'Rabbanan, and a person is in the middle of the street, and then somebody says, "Oh my gosh, I can't believe you're wearing that. You don't know that shirt is shatnez." So the Gemara says that to take off the shirt is humiliating. Like to walk outside without a shirt is not appropriate for a human being to walk out without a shirt. And so we say, it's okay. It's okay. That human dignity is so important that better to keep on the shirt, even though it's asur, even though it's a rabbinic prohibition. So this is brought down in Hilchos Shabbos as well. That the most famous place, the most famous thing that's relevant for is that what do you do? That what's one of the things that like the secular people love to make fun of religious people, that we don't cut toilet paper on Shabbos, right? It's like it's so weird, it's so strange and ridiculous to have tissues in the bathroom. Like it's so archaic and inhumane to have tissues instead of a roll of toilet paper. So what if chas v'shalom a person we forget to have tissues, and the only thing you have is a roll of toilet paper, and you're stuck in the bathroom. So what do we say? Do we say that you have to stay there for the rest of Shabbos? Do we say that you have to just deal with it? No, that's what Hashem wants. So the Gemara says that because it's only the Rabbanan, so what you can do is you can do it with the shinai. You can do it in some abnormal way, and some not to tear it regularly, to tear it with the shinai. Because it's only the Rabbanan to do it with the shinai. So because not to wipe yourself is going to be humiliating. So that is so important that we allow you to do something which is also midrabanan. Okay, so this is a halacha concept. The Gadol Kavod Habriyos, the halacha looks at human dignity as something so important that other things can be put aside in front of this value of human dignity. So the truth is that this idea of human dignity, that it's a very, very basic premise in everything which is beinam l'chaveru, in every interpersonal any interpersonal relations. So the fundamental thing is that there is such a thing as human dignity. This is something that for all the Americans here. So in the Constitution, so it talks about that there's unalienable rights. I've practiced this. Unalienable rights. No, unalienable. But, right? that you have that these are just rights that you have just because you're endowed from your Creator. That's what Thomas Jefferson said. So we have these rights, but the truth is that the fact that we have rights which are unalienable is really stems from something else, and that is because we have something called dignity. Okay, and so the fact that a person has innate dignity. So this is actually a very revolutionary way of looking at life, and this is really the very first, most basic premise to anything that we can talk about. Because basically, the idea of having innate dignity really is that the reason why we have dignity is because we have a soul. And this is really, that's why it's such a basic thing. That, like, perhaps one of the most basic things in Judaism is that you need to know that you're not just a body. The first thing you need to know is that you're actually a soul. That we are a soul with a physical experience. We're not a physical body that can have spiritual experiences. We are a spiritual being that has a physical experience, right? But who we are is actually our soul. And when we talk about kavod, which is really dignity, so that in Tanakh we use the word kavod for the soul. And this is in two places. One you might be familiar with, because we say it in Psukkot Zimra, that is Mizu Shechan HaKosabais David, we say, L'ma'an yizamarcha chavod v'lo yadom. That David HaMelech says that kavod, my kavod will sing your praises. V'lo yadom, and I won't be silent. I will continue singing your praises forever. And he uses the word kavod. Rashi says that kavod is nefesh. Kavod is the nefesh. There's the word kavod. The word dignity is my soul. And there's another pasuk that David HaMelech says, Ura kavodi. My soul should wake up. Doesn't mean that my honor should wake up. Like when he's talking about himself. Ura haneva, that the harp should wake up my kavod. It means that my soul should wake up. Like he refers to his soul as his kavod. So the David HaMelech talks about his soul as his dignity, because the source of human dignity is the fact that you have a soul. If we wouldn't have souls, then why should I respect myself? Why should I? Where does this dignity come from? The place that the dignity comes from, the reason why we have dignity, is because we have a soul. So to go through life with human dignity is a recognition of the fact that I respect the fact that I have a soul. Okay, so it's a very very basic thing in looking at life, and so there's a bunch of things. If we want to talk about self-dignity and having just this basic, the premise of respecting somebody else's dignity is that there's such a thing as dignity. And the truth is that it needs to start with ourselves. And if you're not going to respect yourself, then you won't be able to respect somebody else's. And this is it's a very critical thing to respect our own dignity. And this is something that reflects itself in many different areas of life. Number one, it reflects itself in the way we dress. That to dress in a dignified manner. Okay, well, what's it mean? So what's it mean in a dignified manner? So it's very relative, right? Some people would say that it's only dignified if you're wearing a three-piece suit, and less than that is not dignified. And only if you're how dare you not wear a tie? And so there's different societies have different things. But I think that the basic premise is that if you're dressing in a way that people are gonna whisper about you, like what's with that guy? Like why is he? To dress in a funny way, to dress in a strange way, to dress in a way that's that's not what dignified people do. So then you're to say that I don't care, let them talk. That means you don't respect yourself. Okay, so to dress in a dignified way, and now the Gemara notes that this is something special for Talmidei Chachamim, the people who are Torah scholars. So they need to be especially careful about the way they dress, the way they carry themselves. And it says that Talmid Chacham shenimtza revav al begadav chayav misa, that a Talmid Chacham that goes around with a stain on his clothing. so he's chayiv misa. Like, because he is more called upon to respect his soul, because he's a person that he represents the fact that, what's a rabbi represent? He represents the world of spirituality, the world that, this whole way of looking at life, that we're actually a soul. So he, of all people, is called upon to express his dignity, and that's why it says that Talmid Chacham, that a Torah scholar that walks around in an undignified manner, is chayiv misa. It's like it says that he deserves to die. I once heard about this yeshiva, that the person in charge of the yeshiva required all of the married people in the yeshiva that they need to clean their cars once a week. They need to wash their cars once a week, because for a yeshiva guy to go around in a dirty car, that's undignified. It's the fact that, like, you see this, you see these guys that they're walking around, like they go around and their cars are just disgusting, and like come on, like have you no shame? Like, this is like your car is you. Your car is like, this is how you're presenting yourself to the world. So the way we dress is certainly a way that we need to recognize the fact that I have dignity because I am a soul. Okay, number two, it goes together with the way we dress, is obviously hygiene. And this is like the way that we are, like a person could never say, like, what's the difference? Like, the reason why I need to shower in the morning, the reason I need to make sure that my hair looks normal, the way that I remember I was lacking this one, like when I was in yeshiva. It wasn't like, not everybody shaved every day. It was like, because we just lived in yeshiva the whole day. So it was just us. It was just boys. It was just like, we're all in the same, but we didn't have any really connection to the outside world. Like, there was we didn't even need to go to the grocery, because like the yeshiva gave us everything we need. So like, we're really in our own bubble, and so it became a culture that you shave before Shabbos. You shave before Shabbos, and that's it. And there was this idea that, like, to care about how you looked, that's like goyish. Like, okay, Shabbos is different. Shabbos, you want to look over Shabbos, but to actually care how you look, just for us. And the truth is that, like, to care how you look, that's dignity. It's respecting the fact that I don't have to look good because I'm vain. I'm look good because I respect the fact that I have a neshama, and so I should look dignified. What does it mean to look dignified? Whatever the world defines as looking dignified. So if you would be embarrassed to show up in an event looking like this, so then you shouldn't even show up to yourself like that. That's really what this is saying. That the idea of dignity is I have self-dignity, and I deserve to look good because I have an neshama. Okay. So of course, like this, it's of course a Torah value to look good, to smell good, to have a normal appearance in every way. Along these lines is the same thing with posture. Okay, so like it's not dignified. It's not dignified to slouch. It's not dignified. It's not dignified to have a schlumpy look, and it's not. There's something. Yeah. So just maybe ever take a moment here. So. Now, a similar thing would be that, like, to how we hold ourselves, are being fidgety. It's people that don't realize that you don't pick your nose in public. People that don't, you know that they exist. So it's like, and we're going to talk about later that you're not supposed to laugh at them, right? But. But there's different things. Like the person needs to be aware, and sometimes they don't understand. But sometimes I think that it really comes from the fact that they don't think about these things, because who cares? It's like, okay, if you don't like the fact that I pick my nose, that's your problem. And the Torah says that no, this is actually a part of respecting the fact that we are not just bodies, we are souls, and because we are souls, we have dignity. Now. This is relevant to the way we talk. Okay, I think that I've spoken about this on different occasions. That I think Rabbi Nachman talks about that this is why there's different ways of speaking. Like swearing is like, it's like what the Torah talks about nivel peh. Nivel peh is specifically talking about sexual things. I think we noted once that a lot of the explicit words that are used are sexual words. But the truth is that that's not the point. That the reason why a person should speak in a clean manner, in a dignified manner, is because he has dignity. It's because people with dignity don't use explicit language. And the reason why we want to have a clean language is not because it's specifically because of some avera. It's because we should look at ourselves as dignified people. Another thing would be that to have self-control. A person who's a dignified person doesn't lose it. Doesn't make a fool of himself. Doesn't get angry. Doesn't get aggressive. He realizes that when you lose it, then it's humiliating. And a person should be aware of the fact that I have dignity, and because I have dignity, so I shouldn't lose it. Just because I respect my dignity, even if I don't care so much about that it's usher to get angry, but I shouldn't get angry just because I respect my own dignity. And last but not least is that another example, another expression of my own dignity is boundaries. And the thing about boundaries is the ability to say no, the ability to say, just because somebody asked me to do this doesn't mean I have to do it. I should ask myself, is this something that I'm interested in doing? Is this something that I think it's worthwhile to do? Am I just saying yes because I don't know how to say no? A lot of people, generally speaking, the people that don't know how to say no, it's because they don't respect themselves. Like if I would respect myself, then I would say, is this something that I should be doing? And that basic question is an expression of dignity. So the ability to say no, the ability to have boundaries, so this is an expression of our dignity. Okay, and this is what it's really when the Gemara says Gadol Kavod Brios, this is like the basic premise of Judaism is Kavod Brios, is self-dignity. So these are all ways that we are fulfilling this mitzvah of expressing our dignity. And this was really the one of the main educational goals in a yeshiva in Europe called the Yeshiva of, do you know? Slobodka, amazing. This is the Slobodka Yeshiva. So my Rosh Yeshiva, Nosson Tzvi, that today was also his yahrzeit. He has the same yahrzeit as Rachel Imenu. So he's named after the first Nosson Tzvi Finkel, who was called the Alter of Slobodka. Okay, the Saba of Slobodka in Hebrew. And so the Alter of Slobodka. So he had one of the most popular yeshivas in Europe. And it was that was the yeshiva that Rabbi Kotler went to, it was the yeshiva that Rabbi Yisrael Hutner went to, the yeshiva Yaakov Kamenetsky went to, and it was like he brought up, he cultivated Gedolim. He cultivated awesome Torah leaders. He cultivated the leaders of the next generation, and one of the main educational doctrines that he gave over is this thing of self-dignity, of kavod ha'adam, that a person needs to carry himself with self-worth, a person have to carry themselves with dignity, and he looked at this as the entrance pass to being a good Jew. That you can't be a good Jew if you don't really believe in yourself, if you don't believe that you have worth, if you don't believe in your dignity, if you don't believe that you deserve to carry yourself in the world like a prince or a princess, that you won't be able to serve Hashem properly unless you believe it. And the way we're explaining is because really, when you're respecting yourself, you're respecting the fact that you have an neshama. You're respecting the fact that you have a soul. You're respecting the fact that I'm not just a body, that I have something divine inside of me, and that's why I deserve this dignity. Once somebody asked Rav Shach that how do you deal with does it get to your ego when everybody's standing up for you, everybody's like oh the Rosh Hashiva, and so Rav Shach said a very profound thing. He said if a person was carrying a Sefer Torah and he walks into a room, so everybody stands up because that's the halacha. When a Sefer Torah walks in, you have to stand up. So if a guy's holding a Sefer Torah and he walks into a room and everybody stands up, so would that get to his ego? No, nobody. He wouldn't dream that nobody cares about him. Nobody thinks he's anything. It's not you. It's just a Torah. So Rav Shach said that's the same thing with me. When people stand up, when people give the Shabbat respect, I know it's not me. It's just my Torah that they're respecting. So there's no way that's going to get to my ego. And this is the exact same thing when it comes to our dignity. It's not us. It's our neshama. This is not about arrogance. This is about the neshama. This is about the expression. This is about the realization that I am a neshama. So if I have a neshama, so I need to respect myself. And this is what we should be aware of this. We should be aware of this when we wash our face in the morning. When we brush our teeth in the morning. When we comb our hair in the morning. When we get dressed. To be conscious of the fact that the reason I'm doing this is because I'm a neshama, because I deserve dignity. I need to carry myself in a dignified manner. So this is the first step. This is like the intro to showing, respecting other people's dignity, is to understand the world of dignity, which starts with ourselves. It absolutely starts with ourselves. And Rachel Imeno, so she wouldn't be able to show respect to the dignity of Leah if it wouldn't have been for the fact that she respected herself. So now let's take this a step further and continue, expand this dignity that's not just about us to somebody else. And the truth is that Ben Zoma in Pirkei Avos, the beginning of the fourth parak of Pirkei Avos, so Ben Zoma says, Eizehu mechubad, who is a dignified person? Hamachadeh Sabrias. The person who is dignified is a person that shows respect to others. And I think that what Ben Zoma is really saying is that a person could be very into his own dignity. And very, very careful and listen to everything he said, and make sure that he's always looking good, and make sure that he always has boundaries and he's always saying no. But the truth is that it could come from a bad place. It could actually come from a place of arrogance. It could come from a place that he's full of himself. And of course you need to respect me, I'm actually top of the world. And what is the litmus test if your dignity is coming from a holy place or it's coming from a treif place? The litmus test is how do you treat other people? That if you respect other people's dignity, so that means that when you respect your own dignity, it's coming from a pure place, it's coming from a place that you recognize your neshama. If you don't care about other people's dignity, so then that really means that it's just your arrogance. It's not coming from a pure place. So this is something. It's a very old. The truth is, it's like B'dama was one of the first Tanaim. It comes from, the Gemara says, from Yochanan ben Zakkai. Yochanan ben Zakkai was already living during the Second Temple. Yochanan ben Zakkai, he says, Hizaru b'chvod chaverchem, to be very careful about the dignity of your friends. And so the truth is that caring about other people's dignity. So Rabbi Yerucham Lvovitz from here, so he said that this is the most basic thing about being a human being. He said, Iker ha'adam lezulato. That the essence of a human being is for others. And he says that this is the greatest deciding factor of how holy you are, is how much are you in this for yourself and how much are you in this for others. Because Hashem, so everything he does is for others. So the more that you're in this world for other people, that's how godly you are. If you want to know what is the most godly thing that you can do, the most godly thing that you can do is to care about others. And the more that I care about myself, the less godly I am. It goes both ways. The more I care about myself, the less godly I am. The more I care about myself, the more godly I am. Yeah.
But you just spent at least 10 minutes talking about how we need to care about ourselves. So how do we both care about ourselves and think that we are deserving of having not only being well put together, but having nice things, good things, and also recognize that our entire lives are for someone, for others.
So the reason I care about my dignity is because I think I'm top of the world. I think I deserve other people's respect because I'm so awesome. So that's called being ungodly. If the reason why I respect myself is because I respect my neshama, so then there's the opposite. That I'm respecting the fact that it's Hashem inside of me. That is being godly, right? It's not. There's nothing egotistic about respecting my neshama. It's only egotistic if it's about my ego. Make sense?
How do we separate the me and my neshama?
Your neshama is not your ego. Your neshama, that when I'm respecting the fact that I have this thing inside of me, like if you take Rav Shach's story, so if he's respecting his Torah, that I have Torah, that my Torah is not me, the Torah is something besides me. So to respect his own Torah, that's an act of humility. To say that I deserve your respect because I'm awesome, because I worked so hard, because I I got this degree, I got this whatever. So then that's coming from a place of arrogance. But really, but it's very simple, because the litmus test is how you treat other people. But if you treat other people the same as you treat yourself, then you know you're good. If you treat other people less than you treat yourself, then you know there's something off. Yeah.
I heard that when someone's carrying a Torah to a room, that it's also good to kiss them. Kiss the Torah against the kiss.
Because the person, that the person shouldn't be offended. That I don't think the person is going to be offended. Maybe it's a.
No, I don't think it's like a kavod of that person even. I don't know. I heard this idea that it's good to kiss the person also holding the Torah, like a quick little double tap.
Okay, you might want to ask him if it's okay with him first. Even a pat, it depends. Some people don't like pats. Maybe it's always good to respect people's touch, So now we're talking about showing respect to people, giving dignity to people. So I think there's something so deep about this, something so beautiful about this, because everybody knows. If you ask me that does Torah require a person to care about other people? So of course the Torah wants you to care about other people. We have so many mitzvahs that you have to care about other people, like the mitzvah of tzedakah. Like you have to make sure that somebody doesn't have money. You have to give money. There's a mitzvah of chesed. If a person needs help, you have to give him help. So of course the Torah talks about caring about other people. But the truth is that caring about somebody's dignity is even greater than caring about their physical needs. Okay? Why? Because when I'm caring about your physical needs, when I'm making sure that you have muffins and sour sticks, so I'm caring about your body. But if I respect your dignity, so then I'm respecting your soul. So what's actually greater? It's actually greater to respect your soul than it is to respect your body. And that's why the Gemara says in Bava Basra, it says, a person that gives a coin to tzedakah, to a poor person, misbarach b'shisha brachas. So he gets 6 brachas, 6 blessings. But if you give him a good word, misbarach b'yud aleph brachas, then you get 11 brachas. And the Gemara counts why this 6. But the point is that it's almost twice as big. The Gemara says that to give him a good word is twice as important as giving him money. And this is the reason, because when you're giving him money, so that now he can buy a cigarette. But when you give him a good word, so now he feels like he's a human being. Like it's one of the most dehumanizing things. To have to beg for money is one of the most dehumanizing activities the person could possibly do. So when you treat them like a person that deserves respect, so that it's the greatest thing that you can do to a person, to make him feel good, to make him feel like he's also a human being, to make sure to let him know that he's also that he also is something that's of deserving. So that then you're giving respect to his neshama. So that's why the Gemara says it's twice as important to give him a good word than it is to give him money. And so certainly, if a person is going to give money to somebody, like I've seen this actually, it's very disgusting. It's like sometimes like you see a person, like you give him money, but they make him feel bad. They make him feel like enough of this begging. It's like don't bother us, like get out of here. And like it's so the opposite. It's so like that what the Torah really wants from a person is to respect their neshama, to give him the dignity, to realize that this is also underneath this beggar. He's not just a beggar. It could be like he has raggedy clothing, and he smells, and he doesn't have money, and he's begging, and like to see that I still see your neshama. I see that you're also a Salam Elokim. There's something so beautiful of giving the person his dignity, and that's mamish the biggest bracha. Yeah.
What about when you give beggar money and they want more and they're ungrateful about it? It happens a lot.
So there's a tradition
I
that
shouldn't even embarrass myself and them by doing it.
you didn't embarrass yourself. You were the better person by giving them for them.
But then I feel like I didn't do the mitzvah.
Of course you did the mitzvah. I would say not to do it, not to give the same person again. There's a tradition from the Brisker Rav, so he said that if a person that's obnoxious, so that's a sign that he doesn't really need, because a person that really needs, so he naturally has a broken soul, a broken heart. So it gives him, really being in need gives a person humility. So if he's obnoxious, so that's a sign that he doesn't really need. Okay, so a person, it's like you have this. Like sometimes, like you see from the outset that like,
Still counts as mitzvah if you give to someone who doesn't need.
if he doesn't really
They
need.
have so much gava that they're not able to accept.
It's not about gava, but like, no. What I mean is that sometimes they don't need because they're actually con artists.
Right.
So if he's a con artist, then you don't get a mitzvah because he doesn't really need. You have to be careful. That's why it's always better to give big bucks to organizations that do research first. Not to give the big bucks to the people who are just whatever, who are just like in the street. Because unfortunately, the Gemara, even in the time of Gemara, the Gemara in Ksuba says that there was always like these kind artists, and that's why you have to be careful. Anyway, so to give a person dignity is the greatest chesed. It's even much better. It's better than giving them money. It's better than giving them food, because food is for their body and dignity is for their soul. And there's a lot of things that we can do to help to give people dignity. This is like the greatest chesed that we can do is to give a person dignity. To give a smile, to smile at people is giving them dignity, to make eye contact. And this is especially when we're talking about people that like they're not your friend. They're like a person like a cashier, a person that's a stranger, a person like you know how amazing it is to smile at a stranger. I remember like this happened years ago. I was going to the hotel Friday night, and I said Shabbat Shalom to somebody, and like a couple of like seconds later, like they ran after me, and like they need to tell me like, you have no idea, today was the worst day of my life, and just when you said Shabbat Shalom, that just like made everything okay. It's like you never know. You mamish never know how much a smile can go. Making and sometimes you have we're talking about giving respect to beggars. So it's much the same thing with any people of service. Any people that they're here to serve you. We're talking about a cashier. We're talking about a waiter, a waitress. We're talking about a salesperson. We're talking about somebody. Even if somebody's trying to sell you something, but like they're also a human being. You know, this is not like everybody in the world. Because they have a neshama, they deserves dignity. So, like to talk to them with please and thank you, to talk to them with eye contact, to look at them as if they're here to serve you, is the greatest hashpala, is the greatest downputting of somebody that you could do to recognize that everybody, and this is the Gemara says about Rabbi Yochanan that he would greet everybody, even the Goyim. Even the guy in the street, he would, and like my kids know. They're like that in the, I say I'm nice to all the Arabs in the shuk, except one. I mentioned the one guy that I think he's a terrorist. But everybody, to smile, to say I even tell them Shabbat Shalom, because like Friday is their Shabbos. So like I say, just to be nice that everybody has a soul, to be respectful, to give dignity to everybody. So Rabbi Yochanan said he would show that he would see the dignity in even non-Jews. And this is another thing of respecting people, of respecting other people, is to allow them to autonomy, to allow them to make decisions, that to try not to make decisions for other people. That to as much as possible to allow people to do what they want to do, and not like try to tell them what they should be thinking. When they tell you what they want, to not to try to put them down, not to no, that's a really dumb thing to say. You should really you don't know what you're talking about. Like to allow them to run their own lives, and to respect when they say they don't want to do something, to respect their no. Another element of showing dignity to somebody is to not spread confidential information. If you know something about somebody, so like it doesn't respect them. It's not dignified to them to tell other, like if they told you in confidence, to respect their secrets. There was a big tzaddik, Rabbi Chaim Wallerstein. So he was nifter a couple of years ago, and he lived in New York, I think, and so he had a thing that he would never ever drink. He would never ever drink. Even on Purim, he wouldn't drink. The reason why he wouldn't drink is because he was a person that thousands of people told them their deepest secrets. He was helping so many people in about the most personal things. So he was scared that if he would be drunk, that he might, chas v'shalom, he might like say something about somebody by accident that they wouldn't have wanted everybody to know. And so he was so careful. He was so careful never to get that they should lose that judgment, that shikol hadas. They should be able to have that clarity of self-control. Another thing of respecting, giving people dignity is not to be dismissive. Not to be dismissive when people tell you things. When people tell you things that are really, really stupid. So you know what? They didn't think it's stupid. They didn't think it's stupid, and for you to tell them that, oh my gosh, you're serious? That is the most. It takes away their neshama. I remember when I was in yeshiva, there was one. I remember what it was. I was learning by myself. I was learning without a chavrusa, and I was actually enjoying learning without a chavrusa. And for some reason, this friend of mine, so he didn't think it was a good idea, and he brought me this Gemara that said that when you learn by yourself, so it makes you stupid, the words in the Gemara is a metapshin. It makes you stupid to learn by yourself, and that's why you need a chavrusa. And I remember it so hurt me that he would use the word stupid and me in the same sentence, and it was I was so angry at him. It was I was hurt. I was mamish hurt. I remember I was taking a course in public speaking, and so one of the things they tell you is what do you do when somebody asks a really stupid question? So one of the things they said is you could say that's so interesting. That's such an interesting point. I never thought of that, and just you can move on like that. And
I think I've witnessed you say
So, no, when you guys say something interesting, so I meant that you're really interesting. I didn't mean you guys, I meant the stupid people. Another tactic that he said is that you can say, so hold that thought, we're going to get to that. And then that's another way of avoiding a stupid question. Because what's the alternatives? What? It doesn't go well, because they actually thought it was an intelligent question, so you should give them that dignity that it should, in their eyes, it should still remain a good question, and not to be dismissive of people's ideas. Similarly, that to interrupt somebody when somebody's saying something that you really think is dumb, so we have a tendency to interrupt them because we have the tendency to think the world would be a better place if you would stop talking right now. So let me do it in a way that you won't realize, because I'll just interrupt you and then you have to stop talking because I'm talking, and to interrupt somebody is, if you think about it, the only reason why you're interrupting them is only because you think that what they're saying is stupid. So that itself is not giving them the dignity of the fact that what they have to say is by definition of some importance. Okay, and last but not least is that the way that we show somebody dignity, the way they give dignity to others is, and this is circling back, this is more connected to Rachel Imenu, is that when somebody else is being humiliated, to speak up. When somebody else is being embarrassed, when person A is being not nice to person B, and he's taking away person B's dignity, and we're an innocent bystander. So it's so easy to just remain silent and just let it be. And at that point, we are called upon to speak up. We are called upon to stand up for this person's dignity and say something, and to say that you shouldn't talk to him like that. And it's very empowering to be able to stand up for somebody, and it doesn't matter who the person is. It doesn't matter if this is a person with some kind of disability. If the person you always look good when you stand up for anybody. you're always going to look good. A person should never think that I'm going to embarrass myself because I'm standing up for them. That you always look good when you stand up for anybody's dignity. Because it's a dignified thing to stand up to for somebody else's dignity. So we should always be that person that doesn't allow other people to be put down, and we should be proactive in standing up for them. And it's like I remember I have in my memory like this time that like this teacher was like really obnoxious teacher, and he was like being mean to some guy in the class, and I spoke up and like I said like, excuse me, like Harav, like you can't talk to us like that. You can't. He's an adult. You can't talk to him. And like he lost it. He completely lost it because he started screaming to the point that the director of the program like had to walk in. I was like, is everything okay? So that's why it was so exciting for me because but to stand up for somebody else's dignity is always a good idea, and it's a dignified thing. It's a dignified thing to stand up for somebody else's dignity. Yeah.
So if people are arguing, then you're also going against the other person's dignity.
I'm not talking about that they're arguing. I'm talking about when somebody is objectively putting somebody else down. Yeah, making fun of them, insulting them.
I just feel like the rabbi also felt like you were taking away from his dignity by doing that in front of the class.
He obviously did.
Right.
Yeah,
So,
that's the way that obnoxious people always take things. No, he was being absolutely not okay to this student.
Like you're saying, in some scenarios, it's better to do it in person, like not in public.
I'm just saying, that it's like, it could be a relative thing, like
Mhm.
the dean that you decide is like deserving in that moment, it's like through your eyes of who's getting bullied and who's
Right. I mean, so you have to use good judgment.
Yeah.
The truth is that now that you're reminding me, I remember feeling self-conscious afterwards because he obviously was embarrassed, because the fact, and so I had a little bit of guilt. So I asked my Rav, like, did I do right or did I do wrong? And he says, of course you did right. That's exactly the way you need to talk to these people. That's the only. Yeah. Obnoxious people. That is the way to deal with obnoxious people, to put them in their place. That's exactly what you need to do.
With dignity, like you did.
Yeah, it was a dignified thing to stand up for somebody's dignity. So that because when you have a good guy and a bad guy, to stand up for the bad guy, for the underdog that's being oppressed, is always an act of dignity. Okay? So there's I want to share some stories of just examples of how different tzaddikim that they cared so much. They cared so much to stand up for the dignity of other people. There's a tzaddik in Yerushalayim. His name was Rav Chaim Brim. Like I spoke to him a couple of times. Like he lived in Meir Sharim, and so once happened that a person came into his house, and for some reason, like this person was dressed really, really funny, and so he could tell that the person, like the student that opened the door, he was like holding back a laugh. He was having holding back a smirk. And he realized that it's not gonna be good. Like this person doesn't realize that his glasses are so ridiculous or whatever. And so he did, on the spot, he realized this whole situation. So out of nowhere, he started saying this irrelevant story. And the story with Levi Yitzchak B'Dishev, and in 5 seconds, so the punchline of the story was something very funny. So then he was laughing, and everybody was laughing, and then once everybody's laughing, so then it's no longer awkward, you know. So to be able, he was thinking in a split second to be able to do something that to save the fact that it shouldn't be that under no circumstances should somebody laugh at somebody. This is a story that I know from one of my best friends, so from high school. So his name is Avi Gedak, and so when he made a bris for his son, and he was like a second cousin or something of a huge tzaddik named Rabbi Van Ganachovsky. So Rabbi Van Ganachovsky was a huge tzaddik. He was Rosh Yeshiva of Chibin Yeshiva, and so I believe that this story is brought down in the biography of Rabbi Van Ganachovsky, and he was saying a Dvar Torah at this bris, and he said part of the Dvar Torah was about this Gemara. And then the Gemara, so it was talking about Hiddur Mitzvah. They're supposed to do mitzvahs in a beautiful way. And one of the things was that it says Tefillah Na'ah, that you should have a talis Na'ah and a Tefillah Na'ah. So he was saying, like, what's it mean to have a Tefillah Na'ah, to have a beautiful tefillah? To have a beautiful prayer, and so he was like trying to figure out what does it mean to have a beautiful prayer, to beautify the prayer, and he didn't realize that when it says in the Gemara tefillah na'ah, so tefillah is actually the singular of tefillin. It really means you should have beautiful tefillin. It doesn't mean he just misunderstood. He misunderstood the Gemara, and so Rabbi Avraham was there. And so he spoke after my friend spoke, and so the first thing that instead of saying a regular Dvar Torah, so he went and he said to prove that my friend was right, to prove that how everything he said is really true, and he brought 5 different proofs from all over Shas that exactly what my friend is actually accurate, because he knew that everybody was giggling at the fact that he made such a simple mistake, and they thought that he was saying something silly, so that's why he felt the need to prove from 5 different places, because he was such a super genius, that in order to stand up for the dignity of my friend. Okay? There's a story with what?
She's laughing at me being so moved by the story.
There's a story with Rabbi Zalman Meltzer, that Rabbi Zalman Meltzer, so he was a tzaddik in Yerushalayim, and so once there's some chazan came to the shul where he was davening, and this chazan, so I don't know if you know what chazanas is. Chazanas is like this way of what is it, the halfgat, like this is a way of davening that's like opera style. Okay, and like they wear these like fancy kippas. There's a whole thing. Chazanas is it's an art. And it's somewhat of a lost art. I think the only place to learn chazanas is in Tel Aviv. But it's still somewhat of an art. And so there was this chazan that he was convinced that he's the best chazan, and he was doing this opera type kind of singing, and he was davening Musaf, and meanwhile he was doing everything super slow, and meanwhile he was the only person that thought he had a good voice. It's everybody else was just completely dying from he was tone deaf, but he was doing everything extremely loud, extremely from his stomach. It just sounded horrible, and it was just extremely slow, and everything had a very very complicated melody. And so it's so one by one, everybody was leaving until Rabbi Zalman was the last one there, because Rabbi Zalman didn't want to leave, because the thought of this person turning back to the congregation and noticing nobody's there anymore, he knew that would be so humiliating to him, so he refused to leave. So he was there. There's a similar thing sometimes, like with Achazan, sometimes the person is singing, the Chazan is singing, and nobody sings along. It's a horrible thing. It's a person you should know that as a person who's a chazan, that if you don't sing along, it's he feels like he's dying. So it's a big mitzvah to sing along. But this guy he thought that everybody's not singing along because they're just so entranced, mesmerized by his beautiful voice. And so he finally finished after an hour extra davening, because he was so whatever. So he what should I call it? He turned around, and Rabbi Zalman was the only one left. And so Rabbi Zalman said come on, you're so awesome. And so Rabbi says, oh good, I'm so happy you liked it. You want to hear another piece? But it was worth it. It was worth an hour of Rabbi Zalman's time, in order that this person shouldn't feel that everybody thinks that he's horrible. The fact that everybody shouldn't think that he's such a disgusting chazan. So it was worth his time. It was worth his time in order not to cause this person embarrassment, not to humiliation. And this is really the lesson that we should be taking from Rachel Imenu, that to show respect to everybody, to show respect to the obnoxious people, to show respect to the not the obnoxious poor people, to the obnoxious chazanim, the people that don't know how to dress, the people that don't know how to take care of themselves hygienically, the people these are the people that we should go out of our way to show these people respect, to treat them with dignity. The people that are serving us us, the people that are cashiers, the people that are the lower tier of society. So those are specifically the people that we need to go out of our way to show them dignity. And this is how we are reminding them that they have a soul. We're reminding ourselves that the world is full of souls. And this is why it's such a basic virtue in being a Jew, is because that the more that we show respect and dignity to the people around us, the more that we are making a statement that we as a race, we as mankind, so we're not just a bunch of bodies, we're a bunch of souls. And this is how we're really elevating the entire reality of B'ezrat Hashem. So the zchus of Rachel Imenu should stay with us, and we should really be able to follow in her footsteps and always fill the world with dignity. B'ezrat Hashem. L'chaim.